Greetings everyone. This is Nikhil and I'm currently pursuing my MTech degree in Information Technology from NIT Raipur. So today we will be discussing about cloud computing tools, not all of them, but some. So these are the contents for today's PPT. Cloud computing. What is cloud computing? We need to know cloud computing tools, Cloud SIM, Google App Engine, and Microsoft Azure. These are some tools that we are going to discuss. And now, first we need to know what is cloud computing. To simply put, cloud computing is the delivery of computing services, which can include service, storage, databases, networking, softwares, analytics, and intelligence over the internet. That is why it is called cloud. Simple. To offer faster innovation, flexible resources, and economies of scale. Users typically pay only for the cloud services that they use, and you do not need to pay extra money for the things that you do not use. So it helps to lower the operating cost, run your infrastructure more efficiently, and scale your business needs. So for implementing cloud computing, we need cloud computing tools, and these are some of the most common and most used tools: Microsoft Azure, Cloud SIM, OpenStack, Google App Engine, Amazon EC2, Relic, SolarWinds, and there are many more. There are a lot of those in market, but these are some common and most popular tools. So let's start with Cloud SIM. So Cloud SIM is an open source framework which is used to simulate cloud computing infrastructures and services. It was developed by Cloud Lab organization and it was written purely in Java. It is used for modeling and simulating a cloud computing environment as a means for evaluating a hypothesis prior to software development in order to reproduce tests and results. It supports the simulation of network connections and system elements, support for simulation of federated cloud environment, and it's also work for both private and public domains. It is a self-contained platform for modeling cloud service brokers, provisioning and allocation policies. So here is the Cloud SIM architecture. You can see there are two sections, one that is user code and the other is Cloud SIM section. So it is a Cloud SIM core simulation engine. We have network topology and message delay calculation part in the network segment of the Cloud SIM. The cloud services and cloud resource segment contain VM provisioning, CPU allocation, memory allocation, storage allocation, bandwidth allocation, sensor, cloud coordinator, and data center handling, event handling, some of the most important parts as the perspective, from the perspective of the cloud SIM. And when you're talking about users, we have a scheduling policy, which is a user or data center broker, and simulation specification, which contain cloud scenario, user requirements, and application configuration. And there are a lot of those in between that are not labeled or shown here. So some of the core features of Cloud SIM. So this support of modeling and simulation for large-scale computing environment as federated cloud data centers, virtualized server hosts, customizable policies for provisioning host resource to virtual machines and energy-aware computational resources. It is a self-contained platform for modeling cloud services and for provisioning and allocation policies. It supports the simulation of network connection among simulated system elements. It supports for federated cloud environment. Availability of virtualization engine that aids in creation and management of multiple independent and co-hosted virtual services on data center node. Flexibility to switch between shared space and time shared allocation of processing cores to virtualized services. So that was all for the Cloud SIM. Now we have Google App Engine. So Google App Engine or GAE is a platform as service or PaaS. cloud computing platform for developing and hosting web applications in Google managed data centers. The Google App Engine is a cloud computing technology. Obviously, we've been talking about that. So, all the tools that we are reading, understanding, all we are going to are cloud computing technology. So, Google App Engine is a software that facilitates the user to run his web applications on Google infrastructure. It's more reliable because failure of any server will not affect either the performance of the end user or the service of Google. And that's what we need. So it virtualizes application across multiple servers and data center. So there is no need to worry for the end user. So what language does Google application engine support? So we got Java, the all-time spring, Python, PHP, and Golang. So these are the four commonly used languages. There are many more. Now we need to know some of the GAE features. So first is URL fetch. So applications can access resources on the internet, such as web services or other data using the App Engine's URL fetch service. The URL fetch service retrieves web resources using the same high-speed Google infrastructure that retrieves web pages for any other Google products. That's amazing. Now we got mail. So applications can send email messages using these services. Next we have image manipulation. So this allows your application to manipulate image, which means you can resize, crop, rotate, flip images in JPEG and PNG formats. Now we got memcache. That's an important thing. So high performance in memory key value storage and can be used to store temporary data which doesn't need to be persisted. That is why it is important. So that's all for the Google App Engine. Now we have Microsoft Azure. So Microsoft Azure is something that is developed by Microsoft organization. It's the cloud services that was provided. It's provided by Windows Microsoft Corporation. So Windows Azure is one of the cloud computing platforms that is provided by Microsoft. And Azure can be described as managed data centers that are used to build, deploy, manage the applications and provide services through the global network. The services provided by the Amazon Azure are SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS. So we'll know about them. So we need to know about the supporting languages and tools. So you can use Python, Java, .NET, Golang, REST API, JavaScript, Terraform, Jenkins, and many more. But I just listed some of the common ones because we do not have time for all those. So some of the features of Microsoft Azure. So we got virtual machines. So they provide provision Windows and Linux virtual machines in seconds. Then we got Azure Virtual Desktop, enable a secure remote desktop experience from anywhere. Then we got Azure SQL or SQL, manage always up-to-date SQL instant in the cloud. Azure Cosmos DB or database, so fast NoSQL database with open APIs for any scale. Azure Kubernetes Services or AKS, build and scale with managed Kubernetes. Azure Cognitive Services deploy the high quality AI model as APIs. Then we have App Service. You can quickly create powerful cloud apps for web and mobile. It's very simple when you are using the features of the Microsoft Azure. Then we have Azure PlayFab, everything you need to build and operate a live game on the one platform. We have Azure Functions, process events with serverless codes, and we have Azure Quantum. You can experience quantum impact on today's Azure because we know what the quantum is the technology for the future. So we need to prepare for that as well. Next, we have Azure Arc. Extend Azure management and services anywhere with the help of Azure Arc. So these were some of the most common features or well-known features of Microsoft Azure. Next, we have Azure Services. So we have compute, networking, storage, web plus mobile, and containers. So compute includes virtual machine scale set, functions for serverless computing, batch for containerized batch workloads, service fabric for microservices, and cloud service for building cloud-based apps and APIs. In networking with Azure, you can use variety of networking tools like the virtual networks, which can connect to on-premise data centers, load balancers, application gateways, VPN gateway, Azure DNS for domain hosting, content delivery network, traffic manager, express route, dedicated private networks, fiber connections, and network virtual monitoring and diagnostic systems. That was smartphone. Next, we have storage. It includes blob, queue, file, and disk storage, as well as data lake store, backup, and site recovery, and there are many more. So, the web plus mobile section you can create web plus mobile application in a very easy way, and it includes several services for building and deploying applications. In the containers, Azure has a property which includes container services, which supports Kubernetes or Docker Swarms and container registry, as well as tools for microservices. Azure service continued. Obviously, there are a lot of features, a lot of services. So one slide is not enough. In this slide, we have databases, data plus analytics, AI plus cognitive services, IoT, and most important thing, security. So let's start with database. Azure has a lot. It includes several SQL bases databases, NoSQL bases databases, and many related tools. Database analytics. This section, Azure has some big data tools like HDR Insight for Hadoop Spark, R Server, HBase, and Storm clusters. The AI plus cognitive service provides Azure developing applications with artificial intelligence capabilities like the computer vision API, Face API, Bing Web Search, Video Indexer, Language Understanding Intellect, and many more. The IoT, or the Internet of Things. We know IoT devices are everywhere, so it is important to include those as well. So IoT hub is included, IoT services are included, and that can be combined with a variety of machine learning analytics and communication services for better results. Now, security and identity. Security is most important aspect when you are doing something, when you are uploading data to a cloud server, when you are using services. You need to be secure. You need to know that there is no one else spoofing your data, no one else looking for your data. That is why we need security. So this feature or service include Security Center, Azure Active Directory, Key Vault, and multi-factor authentication services. So with this we end the Microsoft Azure. And thank you so much. With this, I will end this presentation here.